Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Township of North Frontenac's council meeting for Thursday, June the 27th. We'll begin by reading a public notice regarding the recording of meetings. Please be advised, North Frontenac council meetings are recorded. By attending a public meeting of council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Members of council, staff, delegates, and attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior or comments. We'd also like to read our traditional land acknowledgement. We begin this gathering by acknowledging and celebrating these traditional lands as a gathering place of the first peoples and their ancestors who are entrusted to care for Mother Earth since time immemorial. We do so respecting both the land and the indigenous people who continue to walk with us through this world. Today, the Township of North Frontenac is committed to working with indigenous peoples and all residents to pursue a united path of reconciliation. Item 3, approval of the agenda.
Moved by Counselor Good, second by Counselor Fowler. Be it resolved that council approves the agenda dated June 27th, 2024 as circulated.
Are there any comments? In favor? Carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none, we have no business profile, no presentations, we have no delegations. Adoption of minutes. Item 8.
Moved by Counselor Good, second by Counselor Fowler. Be it resolved that council adopts the minutes as circulated of a regular meeting of council held June 6, 2024, and a meeting of the Personnel and Audit Committee held May 28th, 2024.
Comments? Seeing none, in favor? Opposed? Carried. Item 9, business arising out of the minutes.
Moved by Counselor Good, second by Counselor Fowler. Whereas at the meeting held on March 15th, 2024, council passed resolution 127-24 requesting the Joint Fire Committee discuss having the Gallagher Fire Chief attend a North Frontenac council meeting prior to each annual budget. Therefore, be resolved the council receives for information the Joint Fire Committee's resolution 1524 passed at their meeting held June 7th, 2024, approving this request and requesting the North Frontenac CAO notify Fire Chief Cuddy of the date of the meeting.
Any comments? In favor? Carried. Councilor Regent is on Zoom. So Stephanie, if you have any issues with any of this, I'm going to ask you each time. Okay?
Yep. I can hear you guys and I can see you, but you can't see me, but Kelly's working on it.
Okay. Resolution 6824, potential for adding benefits for volunteer firefighters.
Moved by Counselor Good, second by Counselor Fowler. Whereas at the meeting held on February 16th, 2024, council passed resolution 6824 requesting the Joint Fire Committee discuss the potential for adding benefits for firefighters. Now therefore be resolved the council receives for information the Joint Fire Committee's resolution 1424 passed at the meeting held June 7th, 2024, advising that due to the increased costs of providing services, the committee does not support adding benefits at this time.
Are there any comments? Councilor Regent, do you have a comment?
Just for clarification purposes, was this in regards to the next budget?
Yes.
And we're saying no to this before we even.
Remember, we covered it on our past budget and said, well, one of the reasons we didn't want to go forward because we didn't know what Gallagher was going to do.
Correct.
Now we know what they're going to do.
Okay, thank you.
In favor? That's carried. Item 10A, Clerk's Administrative Report, Communications A section.
Moved by Counselor Good, seconded by Counselor Fowler. Be it resolved that council receives for information Section A items of the Clerk's Administrative Report entitled Communications of Interest.
Any comments? Stephanie, do you have any?
No.
Thank you. In favor of the resolution? Carried. Item B1, Communications Section B, Lions Club of Lions Club of Land O'Lakes, creating a human maple leaf.
Moved by Counselor Good, seconded by Counselor Fowler. Be it resolved that council receives for information a letter dated May 21st, 2024 from the Lions Club of Land O'Lakes advising they are attempting to create a human maple leaf on Canada Day, inviting the Township of North Frontenac to participate. The council supports the Lions Club's efforts to encourage tourism and raise awareness of the area. And the council encourages council members, township staff, their families, and members of the public to attend the event.
Any comments? Is anybody planning on attending? Stephanie, are you planning on attending?
I'm planning to, yes. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, I think I'll be there as well. Okay, I think it's 10 o'clock in the morning and it's done by 11 or something, so, okay. All in favor of this resolution? Carried. County of Frontenac Open Farm Days, proclamation.
Moved by Counselor Hudel, second by Counselor Hermer, whereas the Township of North Frontenac recognizes the importance of agriculture in the region, and whereas the Township of North Frontenac believes a strong agricultural economy is essential for enduring communities, for the health of our residents, and to establish a strong community in support of food security for our citizens as well as our businesses and organizations. And whereas the Township of North Frontenac has a vision of a strong agriculture community that is rooted in the character of Frontenac County and its residents, welcoming, natural, healthy, clean, tranquil, entrepreneurial, and rural by choice and conviction. And whereas the Township of North Frontenac is committed to supporting agriculture to grow businesses, attract more visitors, and expand the tax base. Now therefore be resolved that the Council of the Township of North Frontenac hereby declares August 16th to September 30th, 2024 as Open Farm Days in Frontenac County, and reminds individuals of the importance of this 6-week celebration, which supports local agriculture and food businesses in our communities, and that the Township of North Frontenac encourages all residents to support local farms and food businesses by participating in this series of events. The council instructs the manager of community development to share the details with the public on the upcoming events.
Any discussion? In favor of the resolution? Carried. Item 11A, update for home support program for seniors and individuals with physical disabilities in North Frontenac Township.
Moved by Counselor Hermer, seconded by Counselor Hudel. Be it resolved that council receives for information Chief Administrative Officer and Treasurer's Administrative Report entitled Update Regarding a Home Support Program for Seniors and Individuals with Physical Disabilities in North Frontenac Township. And the council approves the updated 2024 to 2027 Memorandum of Understanding, which includes up to $6 per hour to provide indoor and outdoor services, a subsidy of $3 per meal for the Meals on Wheels program, and up to 10 cents per kilometer, maximum of $25 per trip for transportation costs for payment to the Rural Frontenac Community Services and Land O'Lakes Community Services for qualifying residents of North Frontenac Township. The council will consider a bylaw later in the meeting to sign the memorandum of understanding, and that the township allocates a maximum of $10,000 to each agency annually. However, each agency will invoice the township for actual services provided, which will assist in continuing to assess the need of the program and potential future costs to ensure the program remains sustainable if needed. And that the CAO and treasurer meet with both agencies in 2027 to reassess the program and provide council with an update and recommendations regarding the feasibility of continuing the program during the 2027 budget deliberations.
Is there any discussion? Stephanie, would you like to weigh in on this, or you okay with it?
No, I'm good with this. I think this is a great thing. It's a good step.
I'm still concerned that the 10,000 may be too much, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens as we go forward. Because we're.
Yeah, I think.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. No, I think it's a good first step, and we can kind of work on it from there.
All in favor of this resolution? Carried. Okay, where are we? Item 11B, road allowance closure for Wither and Bell.
Moved by Counselor Hudel, second by Counselor Hermer. Be it resolved that council receives for information the clerk planning manager's administrative report entitled Road Allowance Closure for Approval in Principle, Wither and Bell. And the council approves the application to close, stop up and sell a portion of the boundary road allowance between lot 19 concession 1 geographic township of South Toronto and lot 32 concession 6 geographic township of Palmerston to the adjacent property owners in accordance with the road closing policy. And that the clerk shall notify the adjacent property owner to discuss purchasing half of the road allowance excluding the area where the one-story frame cottage is located.
Comments? Stephanie? Have any comments?
No,
All in favor of the resolution? Carried. Director of Emergency Services, 2024 Community Risk Assessment.
Moved by Counselor Fowler, seconded by Counselor Good. Be it resolved, the council receives for information the Director of Emergency Services Fire Chief's Administrative Report entitled 2024 Community Risk Assessment.
Do we have a presentation for this, or it just is what it is? Okay. Are there any comments? Councilor Regent, you have any comments?
if I could just say, I think the fire chief did an excellent job. This is very well done. I would probably like to go through it in a little more detail when I have time, but overall, it's extremely well done. So very nicely done to our new fire chief.
I agree with you. Any other comments? All in favor of the resolution? Resolution's carried. Watersheds, watersheds signage on Mountain Road.
Moved by Counselor Good, seconded by Counselor Fowler. Be it resolved, the council receives for information the Public Works Manager's Administrative Report entitled Watershed Signage, Mountain Road. And the council approves installation of the signage on Mountain Road at a location to be confirmed with the Mississippi Valley Conservation Authority, with the purchase of the signage to come from the 2024 roads budget for signage.
Are there any comments? Counselor Fowler?
Yeah, I don't think we should be putting signs like this up in areas. That's kind of a remote area. I think the signs cost us $200. That's what, is that correct? Yeah. Yep, $200. And I think it's not so much the money. I don't think it's going to do any good or anything like that. I don't think it's something we really need. We do it in this spot, we might have to do it somewhere else.
Any other comments? Counselor Good?
Yes, I kind of agree with Councilor Fowler, because if you're going down 506 or Harlow Road, that's the top of the watershed there in between Mississippi and well, I lost it, right?
Yeah.
Quinny.
Yeah.
And there's another, so there'd be more signs possibly look at going up on different spots. But I don't think
I've been told that at the corner of 506 and 41 underground, that's where everything splits. That would be, yeah, well, exactly. Any other comments? Counselor Hoodle?
$200, that's all it is. Yeah, Mr. Mayor, so that's the post, the starter post, the 8-foot post and the sign.
Yeah, so I think this is a great idea. I mean, I do a lot of traveling across Canada and I see it everywhere on watersheds, mountain ranges. I think it's just a unique thing that we have in Canada, and I think we should identify when there is a change. So I support this.
Darren?
Mr. Mayor, through you, I looked at other possible locations and there's really only 3 possible locations in the township. So one is just the site of Story Lake, the split between Mississippi and Quinte. And there's actually 2, if you go up the mountain road, there's this location on Mountain Road, and actually on Bruley Lake Road, there's the same split between Madawaska and Mississippi. So I think the logic for the Mountain Road signage, we have the campsites and cottagers and some lodges in that area. So you have folks traveling through there and would find that split between watersheds interesting, and it's not included here. But I think a second step, but at no expense to the township, there's a lot of history between those two watersheds with history of the area and logging and early settlements, and that used to be the main road from Quackenbush to access the north part of the township. So I was thinking at some point, the historical group might be interested in adding to this with signage like they do at other locations, but that's not part of this.
Any final comments? Counselor Good?
There's another watershed on the Henderson Road, and it's the break between the Mississippi and it goes into Gull Lake, and then the Salmon River flows the other way on Henderson Road, and then on Harlow Road, the top of the watershed for going down Boundary Creek is right just in on Harlow Road. There's a beaver pond on the left-hand side that flows across the swamp and down through the Boundary Creek.
Yeah,
And,
I'd have to look at that. When we did the culvert on Henderson Road, that 1 kilometer that we have,
That's
I,
probably,
I submitted that to Belleville and it ended up, we went to Mississippi. But
yeah, that is Mississippi.
yeah,
And that
so-
goes right out through and underneath the Harlow Road. And there's a beaver pond. Just
Okay.
past Morgan's Lake. On that-
okay.
that's the
So
top.
yeah, I didn't identify that one.
So there's likely 4 or 5 of them.
Well, then we're looking maybe at $1,000. Counselor Fowler?
I could see, maybe if this was on a major road, Mountain Road is not a major road. If it's like on 506 or 509 or one of those roads, Highway 41, I could see that, but not on a road that's not really well traveled, not that many people up there. And there might be a lot of traffic as far as cottagers and campers and that, but I don't think it's really necessary.
This does take us to the North Frontenac Parklands, right? Up in there. So, okay. All right, let's have a vote on this. Sorry, Counselor Region, do you have any comments before we vote?
No, I think it's a good idea. It's $200. I mean, I put a lot of faith in what Darwin has to say. He knows this area, and it's, you know, if Darwin thinks this makes sense, I would agree.
All right, for the vote, all in favor of voting for this? 4, it's carried. Item E, treasurer update review of the strategic asset management policy, 5-year review.
Moved by Counselor Fowler, second by Counselor Good. Be it resolved that council receives for information the treasurer's administrative report entitled Update and Review of the Strategic Asset Management Policy, 5-year review, and the council will consider later in the meeting a bylaw to adopt the Strategic Asset Management Policy 2024.
Comments? Counselor Fowler?
I was reading through this report and then I saw there was a section where there's $6,025 that's for the streams watershed overflow for pipes and catch basins for overspill. And there's no money going towards that. And every year it ends up being a deficit.
Are we in the right one, Fred?
I think it was in this, I just tried to pick it up in here.
One is asset management and the other one is the reserve policy.
Yeah,
He's in the other one?
I mean,
You can save your comment for the next one.
okay, sure, okay.
Okay. Is there any other comments about this? I think this is well done. I think I started reading and going like, holy geez, there's a lot of work and, and understanding has to go into this. And it's up to us to make sure we interpret it right. Okay, so there you go. Okay, all in favor or in favor? Carried. Item F. Treasurer's potential participation on the Municipal Finance Officers Association Board.
Moved by Counselor Good, second by Counselor Fowler. Be resolved the council receives for information the treasurer's administrative report entitled Treasurer's Potential Participation on Municipal Finance Officers Association Board. And the council approves Kelly Watkins to submit her name for nomination to the MFOA board for the term of January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2027.
Comments?
But I think my comment was from the other one because it was.
Go, Fred. We got you.
Okay, all right. don't
Okay,
worry
we got
about
you
it.
back.
It's just that there was, we had to. go
Right now,
through
right,
steps.
right now, we want to know if you're gonna think it's okay if Kelly lets her name stand for a board membership. Okay, Counselor Good?
I think it's good experience for her, learning experience.
I think it is too. And it gets us involved right at the top.
Yep.
So, okay, any comments? Counselor Regent? You have a comment?
I think this is a brilliant idea. I'd love to see the staff and the managers get involved in stuff like this. So I'm totally in favor.
Counselors can too, you know. Just saying. Okay. Corey?
Just want to say too, I'm really proud of Kelly too for wanting to take this on. This is a pretty big thing and it really looks good on our municipality and it's like you said, it gets us in. So I'm really pleased with this. So thank you, Kelly.
I'm also pleased the way that the request is laid out, showing roughly how much work is involved and how much work isn't involved and, you know, it's enough. You're a busy girl, so, you know. Okay, Counselor Fowler,
I read through this one too, and I think it's great.
you sure you're on the right item?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. In favor? Carried. Have fun with it. Okay. All right, item G, OMERS for volunteer firefighters.
I know, but there's too many microphones.
I'll turn mine up.
Oh, sorry.
Moved by,
Yeah.
moved by Counselor Fowler, second by Counselor Good, be it resolved that council receives for information the treasurer's administrative report entitled OMERS for volunteer firefighters, and the council approves offering the North Frontenac Fire Department firefighters OMERS as a non-full-time employee, and that council will support the same decision for the Caledonia Fire Department if it is deemed they are also eligible to enroll with OMERS as an NFT employee.
Comments? Counselor Hermer?
I think that'll go some ways for new recruitments.
If you ever get a pension, you know, it does go a long way. You know, it's nice to have. Okay, any final comments? In favor of this resolution? Carried. Update and review of the asset management plan.
Moved by Counselor Good, seconded by Counselor Fowler. Be it resolved that council receives for information the treasurer's administrative report entitled Update and Review of the Asset Management Plan. The council approves the asset management plan as provided that meets the requirements of OREG 588-17 before July 1st, 2024 for core and non-core assets.
Comments? Really? $3.4 million deficit in the first year and nobody has a comment? Okay, we have some work to do and a lot of resolution, discussion and potential sources. So Kelly, we're going to be looking to you for a lot of direction and possibilities of what we can and can't do.
Yeah, maybe if I can just add a few things. So we have to keep in mind this asset management plan is the fulsome full replacement. So when we do our 10-year plan, it's kind of like based on our planned spending. So, you know, this includes full replacement of like buildings and things like that. So we do have to keep that sort of in context with this information, but that is the requirement of the OREG is that it is the full replacement. As I mentioned in my admin report, we have, the next one is July 1st, 2025. And to avoid dropping a 100-page document on you with a week to review, what I'm proposing is that we would chunk it out. So it will bring like vehicles to you and really go into detail and in-depth analysis of each of these sections that are in the asset management plan, because we do have to start really talking about the levels of service And that is the council direction. So we'll be looking to you to find out, to simplify it, vehicles. Do you want all of our vehicles to be in excellent condition? Do you want 50% to be in good condition? Because then that drives our replacements and might change, how often we replace vehicles, how we determine the condition, say, of a vehicle. Right now, it is based on age. Maybe we want to look at kilometers and how much repairs we're doing, and it can get quite, in depth. Our only big hurdle is just the time and staffing to kind of get into the good deep stuff that will help decision making, but we will get there.
Every municipality in Ontario is faced with this, right, this year?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of them have asset management coordinators, or have maybe at the county level, someone. So I mean, that has been sort of talked about, but we are still trying to manage it internally with the resources we have. So I think, we do okay, but I mean, there's just such potential with information to make it better.
No one will have enough money anywhere, so.
No,
But you also, we can't bury our head in the sand. First of all, thanks for putting that report together. It was really well done as well. The stuff that came to council today was really great. So are there any final comments? Councilor Hoodle?
Yeah, I think this is very extremely important. I mean, Kelly just mentioned about, how we look at assets, whether it's time-based or use-based. I mean, nobody wants to get into a situation, what happened in Calgary. I mean, I know we don't have anything like that here, but that's what can happen, right? So we have to really manage our assets properly, and as a council, I think Kelly mentioned that we have to ensure we give the right direction of how we look at our assets and when to replace them, and how to replace them. So it was a lesson learned in Calgary. Like, again, a much bigger city than we are, obviously, but still things can happen.
The other thing is that other municipalities debenture a lot of their debt. We only have this particular building, so when you look at the chart in that program or in this presentation, it shows you this what the cost is going to be if you start adding interest on. So how we got here is really good. So credit to those of you who came before us. So we'll try not to spend it all in one spot. We just got to figure out what we're really going to be up against and how we're going to tackle it. Councilor Good, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, over the years, I've been here the longest of anybody, but not the staff, of course, all of them. But it's been a battle over the years not to overspend. And Fred Perry was very vocal on that as well when he was here. We all try to look after the dollars, not if somebody comes up with an idea, it's not sure be a good idea, but we just can't afford it. So we still have to look after the dollars here. It's the taxpayers. That's all I have to say.
Okay, Councilor Regent, do you have anything you want to add before we call for the vote?
No, I would probably echo what Councillor Hoodle had to say. We need to take care of what we have here. We do not need issues like he mentioned. And while I appreciate what Councillor Good has said about making sure we don't overspend, I don't think that's what this is about. So again, it was extremely well done, Kelly. And again, I think we need to put some faith into the staff. So I would be in full agreement to move forward with what she has in mind, provided it makes sense, which I'm sure it does.
See if I can thread the needle here. I think it's like we're in good shape right now, but based on what we see in this document, we can go the other way really quick. And at some point in time, this is all going to catch up to us. And where is all that money going to come from? So we have to be really realistic about, how good do we want this to actually function? It'd be nice if everything was 100% brand new, but it's never going to happen. So, okay. Sorry, go ahead.
If you review this thing, the amount of that's written here about climate change, it's kind of scary about what's going to happen over the next few years and how it affects our infrastructure and forest fires and stuff like that. Something that has to be looked at also.
The first Roma conference we went to, the mayor of Smith Falls stood up in a general forum and asked the question. We just redid our downtown. we designed it for this many year flood. What should we have done? Because climate change is going to increase. It used to be a 35-year or 100-year flood. Is that good enough? Probably not. You're seeing higher amounts of rainfall, greater runoff and so on. Anyway, that isn't going to get solved today. So in favor of this motion? Opposed? Carried. Well done. Item 12A.
Moved by Counselor Hermer, second by Counselor Hudel, be it resolved that council receives for information the minutes of the meeting of the Caledonia Joint Fire Committee dated February 16th, 2024.
Any comments, questions? In favor? Carried. Item 12B, resolution from June 7th, 2024 meeting.
Moved by Counselor Hudel, second by Counselor Hermer, be it resolved that council receives for information the Joint Fire Committee Resolution 1624, passed in a meeting held on June 7, 2024, receiving for information Fire Chief Cuddy's administrative report entitled Fire Truck Cost. And that the proposed capital budget amount for the tanker be increased by $150,000 to a maximum of $800,000, with the amount coming from the Caledonia Joint Fire Committee Reserve Fund. That a copy of this resolution be provided to Addington Highlands Council.
Any questions? My only comment is, and this is to Wayne, and you're on this committee too, right? Is it going to be enough? Is the 150 enough? That's crystal ball, right?
It is today.
Okay. Sorry, Wayne.
Yeah, this was unexpected and, I guess because of the way that things have been going up over the years. And this year, he had the price a lot before. And this has really gone up.
You know, I saw the,
It's too bad. You know, we can't keep afford to do all this. There's not.
right. So Central Frontenac apparently is purchasing a used vehicle out of the States. So we'll see how that goes. They have bigger vehicles than we do, I guess, as well, too, so. Anyway.
I had to make an amendment to the resolution because it didn't make sense. So it has said, and that council approves the proposed capital budget amount for the tanker to be increased by. At the beginning, it said, and that the proposed capital budget, so it didn't anywhere approve it. So I just added council approves in the beginning of that resolution.
You okay with this? Okay, in favor of this motion? Okay. Economic Development Task Force.
Moved by Counselor Hermer, second by Counselor Hudel, be it resolved that council receives for information the notes of a meeting of the Economic Development Task Force dated June 17th, 2024.
Comments? In favor of this motion? Opposed? Carried. Does anyone wish to give notice of motion? Seeing none. We have no motions, written notice, which is to be given by a member. Okay, council portfolio verbal report. Okay, so move this a few weeks. County Council held their monthly council meeting on June the 19th, started off with a presentation from MVCA, Sally McIntyre. They didn't have, so there was a mix up in the availability of the slide deck, so the presentation was slightly different, but we basically saw the very same thing. There was no new information in it. Other than reminder that if they're looking to offload some properties and we're looking to pick it up for camping or something, that might be a doable position. They proclaimed June 21st as National Indigenous Peoples' Day. excuse me, from the beginning of January up until June the 11th, their human resources had posted 162 positions. Fairmont Home, 92% of the residents have been vaccinated against COVID. They did do a code yellow drill, which is missing persons. They did have an issue. You know, you're in the city, that wherewithal, you get out, there's the taxi, away you go. The residents themselves did a walk for Alzheimer's. They raised $2,200, and they also raised $1,480 for their garden club. Paramedicine group, they've hired 17 new paramedics. And this part was really interesting. This is good staff remuneration for the non-union staff. There's 30-some positions and 67 staff. And they do the non-union after they do all the collective bargaining and so on. And then it came time for council. So if you've read the Frontenac News, it's pretty decent summary of what happened. They hired a consultant, like it was Gallagher Consultants, who went out and picked 9 different what they considered comparable jurisdictions, and it was the 9 that they had used or have been used 4 years before. Some of them weren't really, but there's only 1 or 2 in the entire province that are like us as a county. Most have roads and bridges, and they have arenas, and they have a much bigger portfolio. So our portfolio times out at about somewhere around $52 or $55 million as a county. Theirs are much bigger, it's much more complex. So when they analyze the salaries of those 9 organizations or 9 jurisdictions, we were at the bottom. And that's where we should have been, but we were at the bottom by a long shot. The warden was underpaid by 60%, and counselors were underpaid by something like 50%. Hastings County is something similar to us, but still has all the other stuff. That warden earns 90,000 roughly. And the warden here makes something like 39,000 or 38,000. So we looked at different ways of increasing the salary. And basically we ended up saying, we recognize that we may be slightly underpaid, but it is what it is. And we voted ourselves a 3.5% increase for 2025 and 2026. So no lump sum. Last time they put 4,000 on plus. And I asked where the 4,000 or why the 4,000, and no one had an answer to that. So 3.5% was the salary increase. And that's roughly based on what the tax increase is. I got that right, Fred? Okay. K&P Trail, there's still 3, possibly a 4th expropriation in Snow Road. The 1 expropriation went through a notice of necessity. And the judge said, this is fine, but you're probably taking too much land. We advise you to cut it back. The trouble with doing that is you have 90 days as an organization. You have to have a resurveyed and whatever. So it's not a binding decision. So we're moving forward with what it is. But the intention is that we will go at it as a lease. So we'll lease the right of way, which is bigger than what we need. And it was bigger than what we need because it was orphaning off small sections of land that nobody could have used. This will allow the landowner to use whatever land there is besides just the right of way. One other one, there of the first 3, they have decided to withdraw from the fight. So now they will negotiate with the county, and the 4th one or the 3rd one is still I guess July 22nd is their hearing of necessity. So we'll see. Work in progress, folks. The South Frontenac Seniors Housing. So this is something we all remember. We were working with 337,500. There was originally it was 1.4 million for all 4 townships. They did a business plan and so on, and that was 43,000. So what was left was just shy of 1.4 million. And instead of 337,500, it is 339,179. And the council approved that money being transferred to South Frontenac for a project in Verona. So it's gone like from, well, they used to have a social housing building there and it burned to the ground, so it is what it is. But it'll be one of the first ones to use the new Municipal Service Corporation way of doing business. Fairmont Home is also went to a launch for best practices spotlight organizations. So like 33% of the long-term care facilities in Ontario are capable of doing this. They go through a very rigorous training and evaluation and changing process. I believe it's 2 years. I met with Scott Underhill, the head of the OPP for County of Frontenac, and Deputy Mayor Ingalls was with me. 40 minutes, 45 minutes, very interesting discussion. I did bring up transferring the boats and making sure the hulls were washed. Because we only have one boat, I said, and that's the one at sea. So he said he would make sure, so, okay. I did also meet with the Frontenac Paramedic Group about their community health program. They advertise, or they go to the community cafe in Opera trying to solicit input. It's basically set up for if you're in the hospital and you come out and you should be in you're not in good shape, you should be in a long-term care facility. They will basically look after you in home. They might be there 2, 3, 4 times a day for a short period of time. Most of it though is set up for individuals who need help getting along. And they might be there once or twice a week, maybe once a day, whatever's required. And then they said, well, there are some that really should be in the home but don't want to go. But we manage to talk to them every now and then. And then there's those that really should be in the home, but have no idea that they should be in the home. So we're trying to reach those. So it was kind of funny. As for a seniors wellness check, might be interested, but there are other, there's only 12 ambulances or so many. That's it. And they've got 2 paramedics assigned to this full time. So if the funding gets pulled for this in 2 or 3 years, they'll still be able to keep it going. That's the intent. Cell tower in Cloyne is operating. There is a new tower going in at Ardoc Road and over the Hills Road. And I noticed the other day when I went through there, a new lane, maybe you noticed this, Fred, a new laneway was being created up and through. I presume that's where it is. And there's also one set up or intended to go at Smith Road and Ardoc Road. So. And I went on Saturday, I went to the Strawberry Moon opening ceremony for Indigenous Commemorative Medicine Wheel Garden. That was interesting. My advice is don't stand downwind of a smudge pot. It's just, I had a headache. Oh, I was bad. The only issue is that they had the opening of the museum and they had the Kids Kindness Rock Garden that they developed all at the same time, but there didn't seem to be any cross-pollination between the 2 operations, and they were going on simultaneously. So you went to one or you went to the other. It could have been better. Anyway, that's my report. Sure.
Did you say that county hired 17 new paramedics?
Yes,
17 new paramedics? For
Yes.
what? Why 17 new? Well,
the ambulance is something like 10 or 12 new paramedics.
really?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's
They-
what, an ambulance is like $500,000 with paramedics.
So we were short 17 million? This isn't for like people retiring or?
No, you're sorry, 7, some are retired, so they're bringing them on. I don't know how they got the 17, but they keep adding ambulances. There's one more to go for later this year. Okay, and they're keeping, one is being held over, but it's like, the aging seniors population is bad, and you go into Kingston, you go along Princess Street, all those new towers, they're all seniors, and the ambulance is just running back and forth. It's like a shuttle service. I'm being a little bit facetious, but it's not good. Right? Is that what we heard, Fred? Okay. So I've not met with the Lake Association Alliance. Hang on.
Is that right?
Yeah, no, we haven't done that yet. And Missile Service Corporation, our meeting is in July. Counselor Good?
Haven't had any road closings for a little bit, but anybody interested in is, and no cottage association meetings. But Henderson Road's getting worked on. Anybody interested in that part?
South of the border, right?
Yep.
Okay. Just one. Okay. Counselor Regent,
So the Land O'Lakes Family Health Team, we had our quarterly meeting on Monday. Our auditor was there, passed as usual, no issues. Jan does, again, I probably say this all the time, but she does such a great job down there, including managing the budget. Dr. Weldon's on board to be here in the end of August. So he will hopefully start seeing people in September. So no issues there. I don't have anything to share yet about the Police Services Board. And there will be some Lake Association meetings in July. So I'm looking forward to those. And that would be it for now.
Counselor Regent, when Deputy Mayor and I met with Scott Underhill, we asked that question about the police board. He says it's just off to a really slow start. So it is coming.
Yeah.
And the long-term care and social services, so that'd be Land O'Lakes long-term care services or Land O'Lakes family services. What's happening there?
I spoke to Jan about that because she sits on that board as well. So she's going to sort that out with me.
Okay, because I think you're supposed to be on that board as well, so.
Yeah, I don't know if they really view it as the way we view it. I think we view it that the representative, which in this case would be me, is at those meetings. I don't know if they have historically viewed it that way. So she and I had a good chat about that, and she's going to sort that out.
I went to their AGM last year because I asked to go. And okay, an AGM is an AGM, but at the end of it, it says, well, maybe if you got what you wanted, and that was the end of it. So, okay. All right. Thank you. Counselor Hoodle.
Just before I left, we had a tour of Cataraqaback. We did tour the dam and the project that's going to be going on there. Construction isn't going to start till 2027. So I wasn't aware of that. I thought it was earlier, but it's 2027. And so they went through that process. As far as Lake Association meetings, I have one coming up next week. Cataraqaback also. And that's about it.
So the dam, it's during the winter of 27, 28 or 26, 27. The reason I asked, I'm just because they were originally talking 26 or 27. So, and it is a winter construction. So I suggested they leave the original dam in place and build one just downstream, but apparently the cost of doing that is excessive.
It's too wide downstream.
Yeah.
We asked that question. So they're gonna build it right where it is, and they're gonna put a temporary dam up first, because obviously the concern is, what happens if that dam fails and water is, it's like a pretty big drop, 3 feet, I think.
Okay, Counselor Hermer,
Nothing to report.
Counselor Fowler,
Yes, the Eastern Ontario Trails Alliance, we had a meeting on June 12. We may have another meeting in July because we're discussing items with the Ontario Federation of ATVs. For the Lake Associations, Palmerston Lake Association has an AGM on July 20. I plan to go to that. Seniors and law enforcement together. We had a presentation on June 21st at Oso Hall in Sharbert Lake. And it was about seniors' activities and healthy living. And there's about 20 people attended that. And that's all I have.
and Deputy Mayor Ingles is on vacation. So that's the end of that item. Introduction and reading of bylaws.
Moved by Counselor Hudel, second by Counselor Hermer. Be it resolved that leave be given to the mover to introduce the following bylaws that have been circulated to all members of council. 2024-47 to adopt the asset management plan, 2024-48 to adopt the strategic asset management policy, 2024-49 to sign a memorandum of understanding with Rural Frontenac Community Services and Land O'Lakes Community Services, and 2024-50 to sign an agreement with AMO for Community Building Fund, and that these bylaws be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
Comments? In favor? Anybody opposed? Carried. Public forum, do we have anybody online?
No.
No, nobody in the council chamber? Oh, well, yeah. We don't have a closed session, so nothing to rise and report. Confirmatory bylaw.
Moved by Counselor Hermer, second by Counselor Hudel, be it resolved that bylaw 2024-51, being a bylaw to confirm all actions and proceedings of council for its regular meeting held June 27, 2024, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
Comments? In favor? Carried. Adjournment of council.
Moved by Counselor Hudel, second by Counselor Hermer, be it resolved that council adjourns the meeting at 5:51 PM until July 25th, 2024, or at the call of the chair.
Any comments? In favor? Carried. Not bad, 5:52.